So this is going to be the fourth and final part of the error checking function. In the last video I said we were done, and while that's true, we have finished the error check function, I'd like to add a couple more features that notifies you when you have a program broken error and when you have a possible error. Also, I'd like to add the ability for us to control our max number of error checks whenever we need to. The reason why is sometimes certain actions take longer than other actions. You know, if you're farming in the game, that might have a shorter max error check than say if you were mining. So we'd like to have the ability to choose. To get started, we're going to add tooltips. We're going to quickly put one where we would get a program broken error. So we're going to say tooltip. We're going to say program possibly broken, suspending program. And we're going to get a sleep because we want to be able to pause to see the message. But since the program is broken, we want to really make sure we can catch that the program broke. So I'm going to set the sleep time to an absurdly long number so that say I'm at the movies when I'm running the bot or I'm making breakfast, there's no way I'm going to miss this error. Also, if you'd like, you can press enter under the sleep and then set it to exit. So that way the program exits and it doesn't try to continue. We have a return program broken error right here because if the program is possibly broken, you can add extra functionality like, you know, if the program is broken, let's go back to the starter town where everything is safe, then log out. We're going to add one more, so let's copy the sleep and the tooltip, making sure not to copy the exit, and we're going to paste it right above where we're returning all of these values here in the second if statement. And now we're going to change the tooltip from whatever it was before to we have a possible error returning this value. And we're going to change it, instead of sleeping for infinite time, we're going to set it to 1.5 seconds. So now we're basically saying that we've got a possible error. It took a little longer than we thought it would to complete the action we were trying to complete. So we're going to return the fact that we got a possible error. And that's what we're doing right here. The last thing I want to do is make it so we could control the maximum number of error checks. To do this, let's just copy the variable at the top, max error checks, and paste it in between the parentheses for the error check function. This is similar to what we did with the mouse click random function. Now let's test the program. We're going to make a while loop here real quick. While one, when, and we're going to call the error check function. We're just going to type error check, parentheses, and we have to put a value in between the parentheses. You can either paste a variable like max error checks or put a number. I'm just going to put a number, but you can do either one. And now we're going to put a sleep because when you're doing a loop, you don't want it to be instant. You know, we want to give the loop some time to check and see if anything changed. So we're going to sleep for, say, 100 milliseconds. I'm doing 100 just so you as the viewer can see what happens without it taking too long, because normally you'd set it to 1 second or maybe 2 seconds, but that could be up to 50 seconds worth of you guys waiting. We don't want that. We're going to do one last thing. We're going to say if there was a possible error, then we could say, you know, say we're mining and we're waiting for our inventory to fill up and it's taking longer than it should for our inventory to fill up. So we got a possible error. We'll say if it's a possible error, why don't we just try mining again? Maybe the bot clicked on the wrong spot and it hasn't actually been mining right now, but if we got a possible error, we'll just try it again. And we're going to do else if we got a program broken, then we're gonna say, okay, so shit's broken. Let's go back to the main town and log off. Else, well, actually what we could do is we could just take this sleep and put it in the else statement. Then we're gonna end if. So to go over this really quickly, we're gonna do an error check and we have a maximum number of error checks set to 25. Now, if we get a possible error, meaning we've reached 25 error checks, we're gonna assume that something's wrong. So we're gonna try mining again, which is what we were doing before when we were doing this error check. Let's just say that this entire while loop is, you know, trying to mine iron. So the inventory didn't fill up. We might have an error. Let's just try mining the iron again. Let's click on it and start the whole thing over. If it didn't work 3 consecutive times, the program is probably broken. We're going to go back to safety. We're going to log off, and then we're going to print this error message. The program is probably broken, yada, yada, yada. If nothing is wrong at all, we're going to sleep for 100 seconds and wait for something to work or something to go wrong. So let's see that go. We've got 1 possible error, 2 possible errors, 3 possible errors, and our program is broken. So that is the error checking function. Again, you would not have to use this all the time. You would just want to use this in an instance where you were waiting for something to happen. And if it was taking too long for that something to happen, you're setting up fail safes. Okay, if it took a little too long, try it one more time. If it took a little too long for a while, I think it's not working. Let's go ahead and do something different. It's just a good fail safe to add to your program. Now, the very last thing I want to say before we wrap this up is what happens if we did end up mining all the iron and our inventory did fill up. We are going to want to make sure that we reset all of the error check variables, so the next time we need to use this, it's a clean slate. So wherever you wanted to put this in your code, you would just basically do something where if it all worked out, then we would just change every variable. So we would say, possible error is false. We'd say error check, we'd say max number of consecutive errors is 0. We'd say that the number of error checks is 0. We would basically reset everything relating to detecting errors so we don't run into any problems. And now we've reset it all. The next time we need to use the error check function, say it's for farming instead of mining, we're not going to have variables already set. Because if we didn't reset this, say that the inventory filled up on the 22nd error check, right? And then we try to go farming, well, it's going to start out with 22 error checks. So we want to make sure that we reset all of that here. And that's the video. Thank you for watching.